my goals for 2025 would be to get a full Ladies European Tour card. I've played on and off the LET, but 2025 I would love to have my full playing rights and kind of be able to start playing in a lot more of the bigger tournaments, because the ones I've had a glimpse of have been pretty fun so far.
2025 I want to break into the top 100 in the world, continue to increase up the rankings, and compete in as many Grand Slams as I can, hopefully starting in Australia at the Australian Open.
I've also got some really ambitious goals for 2025 and beyond that as well. I think the biggest thing for me this year is trying to be able to try and gain a professional contract so I can make a living from the sport. And in doing so, I think this is going to really help me break through, just dedicating a lot more time to the sport. I want to be getting to the point where I can make British teams for the World Championships, European Championships, and hopefully, if all things align, be pushing to getting to a point where I can push towards making Olympic Games. But yeah, I think this year gaining a professional contract is the first step to helping me achieve those things. And what's going to help me do that is gaining more All-American status here in the US and getting my 5K and my 3K times down to a point where I can attract some sort of sponsorship through the brands, etc.
So for 2025, naturally, obviously, I want to re-progress my career, which would involve moving back up the rankings onto the Challenge Tour, ideally the DP World Tour. That's ultimately where I want to get to, and do believe that the best version of myself is very much capable of being there. It's I'm not very good at outcome goals, really. Very much rather the kind of process driven bits, because I quickly can get too far ahead, too far behind on myself, and at the end of the day, the nature of this sport is that I can play great and you can just be pipped at the post, you know. So to say you want to win X amount of times, I don't really necessarily think that's always possible. Your best golf on that week might not quite be as good as the other guys, but you're looking for I would say for myself, certainly, consistency has to show up a little more. I'm very good at the good stuff, and then, you know, can let myself down at times. But that's the nature of sport, in all cases, I'm sure.
Well, my sport aid journey was a bit different because I was in the academy when I was younger, and then I was not in the academy for a bit. And then Paul Jones, when he came in, I went on to.
What was so you were on the academy and then you left it. Why was that?
Because I originally couldn't make the academy sessions because they were on a Friday night, and I was able to train with the boys on a Friday night. So I knew in that kind of time, it was kind of crucial that I got that training with the boys because it was the hardest training of my week. So I had to make the decision to go for that.
Okay, so but just talk to me what you just said there about, you know, people are telling, you know, I'm telling the coaches what I want, or the nutritionists or whatever.
Yeah, I think it definitely has given me the confidence and made me become really independent and also know what I want and be not afraid to ask for it. Because as I said, I've been doing it from a young age and been encouraged to do that from the people that I've worked with in Ironman sport, so that when I now on a day-to-day basis, when I'm speaking with my nutritionist or trainer, that I'm not afraid to say things and ask for things, because it's become normal to me. Whereas I know from obviously other girls in my team or just people, other athletes, professionals that I come across, that they've not had that experience growing up. So they're a little bit more timid, maybe sit back a little bit. And they kind of think that they're working for you, and they're almost, well, I'll just do what they tell me to do, when really it's a team thing, and your input is more, well, should be at the forefront of everything, because you're the engine, you're the athlete, you're the product, essentially.
In terms of advice that I'd pass on to like the future generations coming through Ironman sport and also the services that are being provided, I would sit here and talk about all the physical and mental aspects of sport, but I feel like those are quite generic and something that like we all know deep down. But I think the biggest thing for me is like when we're growing up and when we're trying to achieve the best outcome for us, you, like myself, and I'm sure many other sportsmen go through this same issue or like difficulty, is that you are going to have to make some really difficult choices along the way that could move you away from your family, from your friends. I mean, this is the third time that I've moved now. I moved to Leeds, I moved to Florida, and now I'm up in Flagstaff in Arizona. They're all really difficult choices to make, and I think one of the best services that could be provided to people would be helping them to find the background information to really help them make the decisions. I think it's easy to rush into things because from my experiences, people will tell you all the great things about something like a place has to offer, but they're not necessarily true. And it's about what's worked for someone else might not necessarily mean it's going to work for you as well. So like I wouldn't say athletes should follow my path, for example, just because it worked for me. I took the time, and Paul Jones will vouch for this. He's sat down with me on many occasions, and we've talked about it, that I really take the time to figure out what's going to be the best thing for my running career, and I do make difficult decisions, and I always go with what I ultimately think is going to be the best thing for my career. But I think there needs to be support and services there to help people make these decisions, and yeah, support them throughout the whole process and really help them to try and find what's best for them.